Hello, this is Amrtansh Arora with ThePrint, and we are here in Hyderabad's Madhapur. What you see behind me is the campus of Tech Mahindra. This campus houses one of India's biggest IT companies. But this building has an interesting history to it. This was the headquarters of Satyam Computers. Founded in 1987, the same year as Tech Mahindra incidentally, by Ramalinga Raju, Satyam Computers capitalized on the Y2K phenomena to emerge as one of India's biggest tech companies, in the same league as Wipro, Infosys and TCS. Until that fateful day in January 2009, when it all came down crashing like a house of cards. Later that same year, Tech Mahindra acquired Satyam in a deal that made Tech Mahindra a serious player in the Indian IT sector. What about Satyam Computers? Its legacy has now been reduced to a case study of how a company presumed to be the fourth largest tech company in India at one point in time concealed a gap of 7,000 crores in its books for years without anyone finding out. The name Satyam is now visible to the naked eye only at the arched gateway to Satyam Enclave, the gated housing society Raju built in Kompally and named after his crown jewel. Meanwhile, Hyderabad has moved on, and Raju isn't part of the new narrative. This, despite, as journalist Kingshuk Nag tells ThePrint, you have to grant him that he was the pioneer of offshoring. Let's listen in.
I met him maybe 1 or 2 years before that. There was a FICCI meeting at Hotel, I think, and there I used to know the then Secretary General of FICCI, Amit Mitra, who later became Finance Minister of West Bengal. And he introduced me to Mr. Raju, and it was just a brief introduction. And there's nothing which struck me about Mr. Raju. He didn't say anything substantial. That's the only meeting I had virtually with him. And when we were writing the book, of course, there was no way of accessing him because he had been put behind the jail. So that's how it took.
Would it be fair to say that Mr. Raju was the blue-eyed boy of Mr. Chandrababu Naidu when he first became Chief Minister? And did Mr. Raju fall out of favor with the government of then undivided Andhra Pradesh when Mr. YSR came to power?
Well, it's like this that Mr. Naidu promoted IT in the state. He brought IT investments from Bangalore. And there were not too many local IT entrepreneurs. They are imported from Bangalore. In fact, I've seen in Bangalore Mr. Naidu appealing for investments in Andhra Pradesh. And in fact, in those days, as to be promoted, I was posted in Bangalore, therefore I've seen Mr. Naidu pleading for investment. Please come to my state, I'll give you this, I'll give you that. And that's how a huge lot of people came from Bangalore here. And Mr. Raju, and locally I think he found Mr. Raju to take his cause up. And here there were no IT entrepreneurs here. So Mr. Raju was his prime example. And when I think some US president had also come here.
Clinton.
Bill Clinton. So Mr. Raju was displayed as a major IT entrepreneur. And that's how I think it happened.
If Mr. Raju had not sent that letter on 7th January 2009, things would have been very different, not just for him, but for Satyam, for Metas and all the...
So I think it would have been different, but then the environment changed also. And a lot of other people came into the picture of acquiring land and going into metro rail. So that's how things changed. But otherwise, there were only two governments, if you see. One was Mr. Naidu, who was from Telugu Desam Party, and then YSR was from Congress. They were opposed to each other. But one thing about YSR was that he never destroyed the investment brought by Mr. Naidu. So they followed each other. So Raju fell into that category also. Raju was promoted by Mr. Naidu and later by YSR, but he fell because of other reasons, nothing to do.
So, sir, since you closely followed the Satyam case as well as Mr. Raju's acquisition of land, would you agree that his obsession with land and acquiring as much as he could in across the country, really, not just Hyderabad, was that rooted in the mindset of the community that he came from? He was from Bhimavaram in West Godavari district. Father also and grandfather too were landowners and businessmen. Do you think that that's where his his fancy for land, so to speak, stemmed from?
Partly because Mr. Raju's family is originally from Rajasthan. They had migrated to Andhra Pradesh over decades. It's not that directly they came from Andhra Pradesh, from Rajasthan, but over centuries they had slowly migrated to this place. And when they first came here, it was a very poor area where they settled in. In fact, it was so poor that people say that a lot of farmers used to actually have nothing more but mud to eat, because that area never had any water. But then a huge barrage was set up there in Doleshwaram near Rajamundri, and after that the image of that area changed and land became very productive. So I imagine Raju's family was also poor, but they came into all this land and then the land became very cultivable, and therefore a lot of people there were into land because then that was the only way of becoming rich. And Raju's family also owned land, and Raju of course had a very inventive mind. He got a deal from some foreign companies, and then he realized that he could deliver those products very cheaply. How? Because if he could set up a input factory in Hyderabad, and then he could send those information to the US and therefore earn much more, because he was an offshoring industry. So basically he is one of the pioneers of setting up an offshoring industry, which nowadays has become quite a trend. So you have to grant him that he is a father of offshore industry in India. And I think he got some huge contract from some, I mentioned in the book, I don't remember.
John Deere, sir.
John Deere's.
That was one of the initial contracts that Satyam Computers bagged.
So he was able to demonstrate to them that how they could do those things very cheaply. And that's which started his foray abroad. And that is how he became rich. But his obsession was primarily with land, because his family also owned a lot of land, and then as land became very dear with water coming into his area, that he started acquiring land everywhere. And I believe that he had acquired land not only in Hyderabad, but across Andhra Pradesh and also in many other states. In fact, this time, this information was given to me by many people in his company. In those days, I used to know them. Some of them are no longer alive also. And with that land, with that huge land bank, he was able to build riches.
So it's been it's been actually more than 11 years since Mr. Raju was granted bail in the CBI case and the ED and CBI case. I think the appeals process is still pending in the CBI case, and the ED process also, the needle hasn't really moved. So ever since he was out on bail, he's maintained a very low profile, no interactions with media, no statements. Do you believe that he's still active behind the scenes, out the public eye, and managing the many businesses that he had floated in the heyday of Satyam?
Yes, that is true. But another thing is that he was not very publicly very well known, in the sense that he was not a very master communication specialist. So if he doesn't meet the press, it is also because he's not very comfortable meeting the press. And all of them will ask questions about Satyam's scam. However, I believe he has cultivated a lot of people, and I know people also who have met him. When he was in jail also, he had thrown parties, and senior officers also used to go to his parties. And those people are around, I still know them also, but they will never come out publicly and say such things. So therefore, Mr. Raju's style of management is different. Below the radar, he operates. And that has nothing to do with the scam, but that is his inborn talents. So that's how he is not known. And in fact, I have never seen, even after we came out of mail, I never met Mr. Raju, except that there are two instances. Firstly, I have seen him in some departmental stores buying vegetables also. Another thing that he got, because at some time, one of the largest television companies wanted to do a TV show on him. They had flashed the news news also in a huge way in the Hyderabad Times. As a result, immediately thereafter, I got huge notices from Mr. Raju that all this his confession story is wrong, and he had never pilfered any money from this company, which was of course false because he had confessed in court that he had. But then the publishers were HarperCollins and they are in Delhi and they are very scared. So the project could never take off. And so my efforts at making a movie on Satyam had to be given up. Not that, of course, I was standing by all the information, but the publishers were not. So therefore.
The 18 years since he sent that infamous resignation email, Ramalinga Raju has largely withdrawn to his fortress of solitude in Hyderabad's ultra-posh Jubilee Hills. His bungalow on Road 62 is unassuming, much like its occupant. But Raju is still active behind the scenes, mentoring a new crop of entrepreneurs as well as family businesses that stared at the Satyam eclipse and lived to tell the tale. Call Health, an integrated health platform, is one. Another is Brain Enterprises. As for Raju's legacy, it survives as corporate lore hanging over Hyderabad's skyline. Of the IT Nizam who rode a billion-dollar tiger, not knowing how to get off without being